Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a good time this evening. Hit subscribe to this channel. According to John Nicosia, the president of News Cycle Media, former managing editor at Mediaite, and breaking news editor at the Washington Examiner. He was on Tim Pool a couple months back. Very interesting individual, very knowledgeable. He has stated on Twitter, according to John Nicosia, the person this Discovery exec was talking about is Jim Acosta. So Acosta is on the way out. We'll talk about that. To my super chat, I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Your super chat support is greatly appreciated on this live stream. Your generosity, especially within this terrible economic environment, is greatly appreciated. So hit subscribe to my super chat if you want to talk about Acosta on the way out of CNN. Former President Donald Trump potentially testifying live. So he's willing to do it. We'll do it live. Like Bill O'Reilly used to say, he's willing to do it live. And they don't want him to testify live. I'm telling you, they don't. Because he would make them look foolish for a number of reasons. They didn't indict him on anything. This is the same thing as impeachment. They didn't impeach him either time for an actual crime. Mashed Potato Brains Joe will be impeached for an actual crime. Felony, graft and bribery are felonies, ladies and gentlemen. And you can prove those felonies very easily. With Hunter's emails and the 150 suspicious financial transactions, according to CBS News. We'll also get into Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker defeated very easily Warnock last night. There's really not much to say. Warnock was petrified when asked if he would support Biden in 24. They won't even commit, and AOC also wouldn't commit. They won't even commit to supporting Mashed Potato Brains. Okay, because they can't commit to supporting Mashed Potato Brains. They're embarrassed of him. And then they get on Herschel Walker and say, oh, well, he said, like Bill Maher and others have gone on Herschel Walker saying, oh, well, he said all these things that weren't true. Biden routinely says things that aren't true. Okay? And they don't care. They don't care about lies. They care about if their political opponents tell lies. The bottom line is, do you want poverty? Then vote Democrat. It really doesn't matter whether it's a Warnock or if it's Georgia and Herschel Walker or Oz and Pennsylvania or Blake Masters in Arizona or Ron Johnson in Wisconsin or Laxalt in Nevada. If you want poverty, we see what's taking place. Vote Democrat. If you want a better economy, if you want to make sure that future Inflation Reduction Acts don't end up in higher inflation. We have 8 to 9% inflation, and we have real wages down 8.5%, according to the New York Post and actually the Dallas Fed. The New York Post was quoting the Dallas Fed. So hit subscribe to this channel, to my super chat. I cannot thank you enough. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. So I'll read this. And everybody here, Eric, hello. Everybody here, Tammy, X8, hello. Quinn, Daniel, hello. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Law2258, hello. Joel Valdez, my man. John Lillane, my man, hello. Lord Latika, hello. Kristen, hello. All right, let's get started. This is from John Nicosia. The person this Discovery exec was talking about is Jim Acosta. CNN, like they did when I reported about Stelter being let go, will be to defend the person. That's what the network PR people do. Keep in mind, many of the recent people let go had big support within the network, but did not fit in the middle ground vision CNN is being pushed into. Okay, the CNN, MSNBC marketing spin, where everything is just they're basically the DNC cable station, the Democratic Party's cable station, that's not lucrative anymore. Nobody really cares about that anymore. Nobody wants to listen to that. Okay, Trump bad is no longer important. Trump mean, Trump bad, outrage over Trump, that doesn't sell anymore. It does, it's lucrative, but it's not relevant anymore. It's not as relevant, let's put it that way. Okay, it's not as relevant. Let's put it that way. Okay? Chris, hello. Thank you for watching in Thailand. It's not as relevant as it used to be because we have an economy in free fall now. We did not have an economy that was tanking with Trump. In 2019, we had record highs in household median income and a record low in poverty. We had every demographic group doing very well in 2019 before Democrats gleefully tanked their state economies. Now, Jim Acosta, while the economy was doing well, while Trump was negotiating peace deals and being the first president to step foot in North Korea, doing actually great things, the media melted down and people made a name for themselves simply becoming, like, trying to be a thorn in Trump's side. Not for the sake of the country. It had nothing to do with the country. It has nothing to do with morality. Okay? There's a moral imperative. It was a moral imperative to vote for Trump. I've heard many people say it's immoral to vote for Trump. These people have a twisted, warped view of morality. Okay? Poverty. When you're voting for poverty, that is immoral. Okay, you vote Democrat, you are literally voting for poverty. That is not hyperbole. We see what's going on. Democrats pump money into the country. They pump strategic petroleum reserves into the country, 200 million barrels, while at the same time pontificating about climate. And the climate Paris Accords that Trump brought us out of, that we're not even abiding by. Where in the climate Paris Accords does it say to pump 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves? Where does it say that? I would like to know where it says that. So, I mean, we could go on with the hypocrisy forever, but Jim Acosta, he devoted his life at CNN, or actually he was part of the White House press corps. And there is no, like, Peter Doocy is like a much nicer, more respectful version of Acosta. Okay. Peter Doocy is like a very respectful, like when he speaks to the White House press secretary, the former one and the current one, he's like a million times more respect. Jim Acosta pulled away a microphone from a female staffer, or female, a person within Trump's cabinet, or a woman working at the White House. I mean, imagine if it was a Trump Republican doing that. Democrats can get away with anything. It's unbelievable they could just get away with anything. So he just tore away the microphone from her. Someone should have. I mean, Trump should have come down and tore the microphone away from Acosta. That would have been fantastic. He could have done it easily, probably. But that would have been amazing. Like, the microphone should have just broken at that point. Like, that someone should have come to that woman's defense because he tore it away from her. And this is just one of the many examples. And then you had, like, Jim Acosta always going and accusing Trump. Who accuses Biden? First of all, Mashed Potato Brains Joe never addresses the White House press corps. When is he ever going to address the White House press corps? Trump did that routinely. And again, it wasn't, he was trying to be transparent, but it was basically like he was a substitute teacher with a rowdy 8th grade class. And Dieter Andrew, JKP not asked about Joe saying Bo. Exactly. Joe, for example, stated that his son lost his life in Iraq. That didn't happen. It's one of the many things he said. He was arrested during the civil rights movement. Biden said that never happened. I mean, you don't see Bill Maher, or you don't see Saturday Night Live. You don't see all of these people going after Biden for all the things he says that aren't true. It's only when, they make a big deal about this badge that Herschel Walker has. It's like, the badge was given to him by law enforcement. Okay, all the law enforcement is supporting Trump Republicans throughout every state. I don't really know of a law enforcement agency supporting Democrats. I guess you could find some here and there, but most law enforcement, most veterans, most active duty soldiers support Republicans, Trump Republicans. Okay, that's just a fact. Democratic-run cities, you have people who've been arrested sometimes 40 times or more being let out. And it's like crime is soaring. Homelessness is rampant in Democratic-run cities. You're seeing a breakdown in society. You can go to any Democratic-run city, and in San Francisco, for example, and other places, you will have people walk into a Rite Aid, walk into a supermarket, and just take things and leave. And that used to never happen. That used to never, ever happen. Okay, now it happens with regularity. It happens all the time. Nobody is even shocked anymore. John Lelane, hello. Nobody is even shocked. Rand, hello. And so you look and, but did not fit the middle ground vision CNN is being pushed into since Acosta was the main Trump lightning rod between old CNN and the new owner's future vision. He will either go quick or with a lot of internal pushback. Stay tuned. I can't imagine Acosta having that much pull at CNN. He had one little act, and his act was, I'm going to be really belligerent and engage in this performance art where I am like this moral. They always think that their emotions equate to morality. This is the thing with morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats, like Jim Acosta, or like the person who's disowned you from your family or friends because you made the greatest sin known to mankind and vote for Trump. Emotion has nothing to do with morality. You could be as angry and as indignant and as horrified as you want to. It really doesn't matter in terms of logic and reason and what constitutes morality. Okay, it is immoral to have voted for Joe Biden. It is immoral to vote for Biden again, or Democrats again in the midterms, knowing their track record. If you want to say, well, nobody knew 2 years ago that we would have a recession with real wages down 8.5%, inflation up at 8 to 9%, probably more. I'm sure, definitely more than that. That's nonsense. Things aren't just 8% more expensive, okay? You have to be kidding me. You have to be living under a rock. Like Bill Gates one time was like doing this, The Price is Right type game show thing. It wasn't The Price is Right, but he couldn't give the price of like eggs or steak or dishwashing. He couldn't give the price of soap or dishwashing capsules, or he couldn't give the average price of anything because he doesn't do his own shopping, and he hasn't done his own shopping for probably 30 years. So you have people who always side with the establishment who are basically no different from multi-billionaires. Okay, they're basically no different. They just don't really care about what every person in the country is going through. When you have 8 to 9% inflation, and it's really more than that, everything from grocery shopping to filling your gas tank to paying rent, Rent is more than 8%. People are paying more than 8% higher rent and mortgage payments. When you don't do your own shopping or you don't actually live paycheck to paycheck, then you can be AOC and pontificate about Medicare for all while not even voting for it. These people have a racket. It's a business. It's lucrative. They're actors. And, I mean, to an extent, you could look at a liberal billionaire that cares so much about climate, he or she is willing to tank the U.S. economy. You have two choices. You can either have low gas prices or decarbonize the planet. You can't do both at once. It is not possible. We're seeing that right now. It is not possible. Okay? And so you had Jim Acosta, people like Jim Acosta, they devoted their lives to trying to insult and demean Trump. The problem is that be careful what you wish for, because now we have a terrible economy and a terrible foreign policy. Our standing in the world has plummeted. People do not respect the country anymore. I don't usually speak in this manner, but it's the truth. It is the truth. People don't respect the country anymore. They don't respect us because we have a president, we have a leader who is presiding over an economic catastrophe, a foreign policy nightmare, and most importantly, we don't have the money to impose our foreign policy anymore. And the reason we don't have the money is because Democrats have pumped $10 trillion to replicate an economy they pushed to shut down. Okay, 2 years ago, they pushed to shut down the U.S. economy. Nothing I say is made up. This is all a fact. And so did other countries. And they worshipped the decisions or the suggestions of multinational organizations. They wanted anyone else to lead the country but Trump. And they actually duly, the president that people wanted. So experts and multinational organizations and bureaucrats and government officials and 500 former government DOJ and Intel officials and generals and all of these letters. I mean, it's like a template. Get 500 former and current officials to say they disagree with Trump. And then CNN and Jim Acosta and Washington Post, former officials say Trump is wrong. Experts say Trump wants to open up the economy and it's too soon. Well, you pumped $10 trillion into the economy. Now we have mashed potato brains who's shaking hands with ghosts and asking where deceased Democratic politicians are. I mean, it's terrible. It's so sad. And then you have Fetterman, who is also, I mean, God bless Joe Biden and Fetterman. They're going through certain issues. God bless them. Anybody could go through those issues. But if you're one fry short of a Happy Meal, maybe politics isn't for you. You have to actually be lucid and aware of what's going on at all times. If you're Fetterman and you've gone through a serious, physical situation, we'll just leave it at that. Nobody owes you anything just because you're a Democrat. Nobody owes you their vote just because you're a Democrat. I mean, you have to actually prove that you're competent. And it's like you're one beer short of a six-pack and you're expecting to lead the country or lead Pennsylvania. It's like it ain't going to happen. All of these Democrats are losing their lead. They got a little bump from the raid on Mar-a-Lago. A little bump. Okay? And that's what really like catapulted Democrats. Interestingly enough, it also catapulted Republican voters. Okay? So, you look, ladies and gentlemen, and Trump is willing to testify. I mean, here's another example of why Democrats are going to get completely humiliated, but also decimated in the midterms. They're not focusing on inflation, and then they're saying, well, if Republicans take Congress, inflation's going to go up. This is the stupidest, like, the most vapid, overt propaganda spin. It doesn't even make any sense. Republicans, even when they're sworn in January of 2023, will not really have the ability to make to make a dent in terms of inflation or the economy or anything for at least 2, 3, 4, 5 months into their tenure. The economy is in free fall. The stock market is crashing. Economists have already predicted. Economists, and I predicted this in 2021. But this is so hilarious. John LaLanne! Trump simply enforced policies of the old Democratic Party with smart economics, and they freaked out over their own policies. P.S. Okay, I have to check that John LaLanne. I'm terrible at checking my email, which I shouldn't be. I should check my email all the time, but I don't. But John, I will check the email. Thank you so very much, and it's very true, John. Very true. Well said. Trump Republicans would be Democrats in 1992. Not even like 1998 or even like 2002. He would be I agree with you. Here's a man who focuses on negotiating. Could you imagine if Hillary Clinton was elected, was president, first female president, she went into North Korea, oh my God, and she met with Kim Jong-un? It would be viewed as the most courageous, wonderful, groundbreaking, oh my God, and she did what men couldn't do, and she was, oh my God, they would champion it for months. Trump got like 1 day. He didn't even really get any credit for it, which is really sad. John, thank you so much. Very true. You look, and it's like he was willing to spend a good deal of money as president, the way Democrats have in the future, in the past, but it's like he focused on economic growth. So the interesting thing is, like, when he cut taxes, this is another racket. They say, oh, the billionaires and the wealthy benefited. It's like, the wealthy and billionaires are benefiting now. There is never a time when billionaires don't benefit. Billionaires will always benefit in times of tragedy, recessions. You think in any dire economic time in any country in the world, the wealthiest will always either benefit or survive. So it really doesn't matter if they benefited more from the Trump tax cuts. The average American benefited, who pays taxes. And so it also boosted the economy. We had a growing economy. That's the issue with Democrats. They say, well, we're going to pump money into the economy to help poor people. They don't realize that you're not helping poor people by pumping money that isn't equating to economic growth. If you pump money into the economy, if it's, like, for example, a tax cut, and it grows the economy, then people have more money in their pocket. People are spending more. People are saving more. The economy is functioning. The country is growing in terms of GDP. Okay? If you shut down economic activity like a bunch of imbeciles because experts tell you to do so, and you pledge allegiance to these experts who are wrong almost always on major issues, and you can't even go to a restaurant, and you can't even go to work, and the economy is essentially shut down. I mean, this is something that I couldn't even imagine taking place. This would never have happened in any other era of American politics or history. It would never have taken place. But you have so many mindless people who will just accept anything if an individual in authority tells them. They say they didn't trust Trump. So they got mashed potato brains Joe with a recession and real wages down 8.5%. Real wages were up under Trump. And then you had Jim Acosta, telling the world how horrible Trump was. We had a great economy under Trump. People were making money. Every demographic group was making money. So what if he was a little bit should Trump have gone after LeBron James? No. Should he have gone after NFL athletes? No. Even if I agree with Trump's viewpoint, or you agree with Trump's viewpoint, the manner in which he utilized Twitter, it hurt him because we had record low Black and Latino unemployment. And he allocated more funding to historically Black colleges and universities than any president ever. But see, all the good things he did, he allowed people like Jim Acosta to focus on the words. See, Democrats care more about image. I don't care about image. I don't care. Certain times people have tried to disparage me here and there. I mean, if a person is judged by their detractors, there's really nothing much to say about me because my detractors generally have always been a bunch of imbeciles who were not very important or relevant at all. But here and there, people say, oh, he melted down. H.A. Goodman meltdown. It's like, I don't care about this. I'm not in high school anymore. This is nonsense about Trump meltdown. Unhinged. Trump, is he like a door? He's unhinged. They're so worried about what people think of them. It's unbelievable. That's the thing with Trump. He doesn't care. I think that he secretly likes the negative coverage, and that's also not too good. When somebody says you're unhinged, who cares? Jimmy touchdown, hello. Who cares if someone says you're unhinged? Who cares if someone says you're cringy? It's cringy. Who cares? And then when I it's like I'm always on the wrong side of the mainstream. So when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, I essentially wanted a Trump presidency. I wanted a great economy and an anti-war foreign policy, which is what Trump gave us. Was it a pacifist foreign policy? No, but they went after, there was a missile strike, and oh my God, they focused on that, and they didn't realize that everything would have been infinitely worse had Clinton defeated Trump. And when they say, military strikes are down in one region under Biden. Yeah, I want to know why? Because Biden had to abide by the Doha Agreement, which Trump negotiated to bring Americans out of that region finally. Thank God. But Biden completely botched that. Those 13 Americans should be alive today. Those 100 Afghans should be alive today. And Alec Baldwin, who might very well face charges in New Mexico, is also being sued by the family of a courageous, brave, noble American soldier who lost his life in that operation that Biden completely botched. Because it called for a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. So no, mashed potato brains Joe didn't bring Americans home. He was forced to do so, and he did so in the most haphazard manner. He had to abide by an agreement he would never have negotiated himself. Love trucks, hello. Pony soldier, hello. But Alec Baldwin is being sued, I believe, again by the family. So he did a good thing. It's like he gave some money to the family of a soldier who lost his life during the withdrawal. And then he found out that one of the family members, or a couple, or one of the family members were at the Capitol, and they weren't arrested. They weren't doing anything illegal. And then he, according to the lawsuit, allowed his followers on social media to berate that family, or he went back and forth and created this big mess on social media, according to the lawsuit. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you so very much. John, thank you again. I have to check my email. I apologize. John, thank you. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you so very, very much. Thank you, the Roz Rodriguez, thank you. I hope all is well. Hope you're having a great evening. Thank you so very much, as always, for just being so generous. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding. There are people who get $20 million in venture capital funding to funnel voters back into the Democratic Party. This is also something I can't stand. I started on the left, and I realized the racket. They don't believe anything that they say. Medicare for All is a prime example. They won't even vote for it in the House of Representatives. The Roz, thank you so very, very much. If a corporation, a liberal progressive corporation, is getting $20 million in venture capital funding, and it's a media company, they're not getting the $20 million to implement Green Party policies. They're getting the $20 million in venture capitalist funding because the media corporation is always, no matter what, aligned with the Democratic Party. Not what's good for the country, not what's good for progressives, not what's good for socialists, not what's good for left-leaning voters, what's good for the Democratic Party. It's a political party that almost certainly, I can't prove this, and I'm not saying this like it's a categorical fact, but when you have producers for Jimmy Kimmel and Saturday Night Live, and you have editors at the Washington Post and New York Times and the Atlantic and New Yorker, New York Magazine, Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Vice, BuzzFeed, and you have these editors and producers at CNN, MSNBC, and late night talk show producers. How is it that all of this public relations monstrosity with editors at publications and producers and directors at cable stations, how is it that every single day they're saying the same thing, and that every single week they're saying the same thing? How is it that they're always saying the same thing in unison? The Roz Rodriguez, thank you to my super chat. Thank you, John. Thank you again. How is it that they're always saying the same exact thing? Cole, hello. How is it that they're saying the same exact thing? So there has to be some kind of communication. There has to be some kind of communication that might be allowed from the standpoint of the First Amendment, but if it's a campaign finance violation, if you're a political party and you're getting free air coverage, that's a campaign finance violation, okay? There should be some investigation pertaining to almost all of media parroting at the same time in unison whatever the Democratic Party talking point is at all times. Trump tried to overturn democracy. That didn't work out. Now Trump mishandled classified data. That's not working out. Now Trump is it's the same article, but just a different topic. Trump bad, he's mean, he's a criminal, and one day he'll be sent to Alcatraz. And then repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I mean, at a certain point, there has to be some... we're a nation of 320 million Americans, and we had one person who was an authority on you-know-what. I mean, we had one person that we're supposed to listen to, or like a couple of people, or like, a certain group of people at Twitter that decide what is information that misinforms people. And this is like the third, the United States of America is the third most populous country in the world. And it is so easy to just manipulate the media narrative. It doesn't take much. So if you're getting free coverage, if Saturday Night Live and Jimmy Kimmel's producers or Stephen Colbert's producers, and we know Stephen Colbert's producers were caught at the Capitol. We know they were breaking laws. But if you have editors at the Washington Post or editors at the New York Times communicating with Democratic politicians to further the Democratic Party's political narrative, that's protected under the First Amendment, fine. But it's not protected under campaign finance laws. Because that's free marketing, free. It's like fundraising, public relations. You're getting free airtime. It's basically a political ad. You're getting hundreds and probably billions of dollars in free advertising. That's if they're actually communicating. So you'd have to prove that they're actually communicating. But, I mean, CNN, nobody takes CNN seriously anymore. Hetty, hello. Nobody takes CNN seriously. They haven't taken CNN seriously for a long time. It's just like the same people who just kept saying, Christy, hello. The same people who kept saying, well, Trump, he's going to really just tank the entire economy and he's such a menace and he's so harmful. It's like, how is your life today as opposed to 2019? How is your life today as opposed to 2019? People in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, every toss-up state, every state that's a toss-up. How is your life? And we are in a recession. Interest rates at 8 to 9%, and they're getting worse. Interest rates are higher than expected. They're rising. They're not decreasing. And they're not getting lower, they're getting worse. And so real wages are down 8.5%, and Bernie Sanders went after Trump saying, well, real wages are only up 1.1% in 2019. So real wages were up under Trump. We had a great economy under Trump. What is it? What is it that this man is doing? He's constantly investigated. They find nothing, but they get, again, the free media coverage. Here's what I mean. It's a pretty simple racket. You have the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation accuse Trump of something because of an informant. Okay, we've seen the informant, the source, the confidential human source that the Bureau actually paid tens of thousands of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars to, tons of thousands, on trial for lying. So these informants against Trump, they're always lying, or there's no way to actually prove anything that they say. They just the Bureau and the DOJ just need a pretext to investigate Trump. Then you get the never-ending media coverage. Oh my God, Trump, he's a criminal. He's being investigated. He's under investigation. And then you get this obsession. The media is obsessed with Trump. And he's not president. Mashed Potato Brains is. And Mashed Potato Brains doesn't ever speak to the White House press corps. Like Trump did all the time. He should never have done that. He should have done what Biden did and never speak to the White House press corps. And they were always loud and like, I don't understand how. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you to my super chat. Thank you, John Lane. Thank you so much. I don't understand how. I just don't understand. Why did Trump have the White House press corps set up that he did? It makes no sense. It really makes no sense. The walls are closing in. That's right. Like, Trump would actually speak to, like, Jim Acosta would be like, I just want to let you know, Trump, Mr. President. He would always, it would be so hilarious. He'd always pretend, he'd give this, like, hilarious attempt at objectivity. Mr. President, you know, there are a lot of people who are upset about what you said. And, you know, a lot of people are saying, and, you know, it was always like he was this morally superior liberal journalist who was fighting for the truth. Meanwhile, we had record low unemployment with real wages up, inflation at 2%, economy growing. We had wonderful foreign policy that, you know, we didn't have the invasion, and we wouldn't have had the invasion in Europe had Trump been in office because he would have negotiated. That's plain and simple. He wouldn't have cared what the alliance thought. That wonderful alliance that's crumbling now, or at least not as relevant as people think it is. And if you are an ally of the United States of America, and I say this, I love this country, I love being an American, but I'm just being honest. If you're an ally and we're helping you, good luck. I mean, God bless you. I mean, it's like a bad situation. You don't want to be beholden to the United States for anything. Anything! You do, like, for President Obama helped Libya into never-ending chaos and like a catastrophe for over a decade now. We've helped that country into oblivion in Europe. You definitely don't want to be an ally of the country in a precarious situation, about to be invaded or preparing for an intervention by the alliance. Love Trucks! HA is working very hard through these hard times. Thank you, Love Trucks. Greatly appreciated. I do appreciate your support. Thank you, Love Trucks, for being a member of the channel. The Roz Rodriguez, John Lane, everybody here. To my super chat, thank you. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very, very much. But Herschel Walker did just fine. There is I speak liberal. I speak liberal Democrat. It's actually a very insidious language. And it is a language where prejudice is allowed to be communicated through sensibilities, through widely held and universally accepted, among media at least, sensibilities. So when they go after and when they attack Herschel Walker's manner of speech, the way he communicates, the liberal Democrats of every background in media, what they're engaging in is an accepted form of bigotry. And they tried to do the same thing to Larry Elder, but Larry Elder communicates in a bit more of an accepted manner by media because he's in media. And so, but the way Herschel Walker communicates his thoughts and the way liberal media have attacked him for the manner in which he communicates his thoughts is the epitome of prejudice and bigotry, and it's actually worse than anything Trump has ever said. The problem, the real nasty, insidious, nefarious, diabolical state of affairs is that they're proving, and they did this with Larry Elder, they do it with Candace Owens, they do it with Kanye West, they're doing it with Herschel Walker. They're proving that they really don't care about diversity. They care about uniformity of thought. You cannot be you cannot be a person of just any background if you don't, like, if you are a person of color, according to Democrats, you are not a person of color if you don't agree with them. Or you can be treated in the most disrespectful manner if you disagree with them. Pete Solano, hello. And so look at the way that they go after. They say, he's so stupid. But the whole world thinks that of Joe Biden. The whole world sees mashed potato brains, all the lies he tells, all the things. Oh, yeah, I was in the civil rights movement. I go, no, you weren't. I mean, he continually makes statements that aren't true. With Trump, the Washington Post would actually dissect the semantics within the statements he made, even if the statements were just generally true. If it was hyperbole, they would say, that's not exactly true. We rated 3 Pinocchios. And then they would say, that's a lie. They don't do the same thing with Biden because Biden doesn't generally speak to the media. When he does, he's absolutely lying, and it's not just hyperbole. It's like a blatant lie. With Trump, what happened with Trump is that we had a great economy, and he'll say something like it's the best economy ever. He'll say something like it's the best economy ever. And they'll say, that's a lie. It was a better economy in 1957. That's a lie. Trump, 7 Pinocchios. Biden will say a whole bunch of things that are categorically false, and there'll be no outrage. There's no running tally from the Washington Post. There's no running tally. There's no outrage. And it's just, that's just the way that's just the way they don't care. Like when they list all the things Herschel Walker said. And here's the thing. They bring up Herschel Walker's past, but he never served any prison time for all the things that he allegedly claimed, or his opponent has been accused of the same types of things. His opponent also is accused, and there's a money trail of evicting homeless tenants or making them homeless. And this is the morally superior liberal Democrat. So, they're making a big deal about the badge. The whole thing with the badge is that law enforcement, of course, sides with Trump Republicans. Law enforcement does side with, they don't side with Democrats. Crime is soaring because of Democratic policies. Criminal justice reform is fantastic, but not for violent criminals. You don't let violent criminals out. That's absurd. But that's the Democratic policy. They take something that's actually makes sense and they ruin everything they touch. Of course you need criminal justice reform for nonviolent crimes, not for violent crimes, you imbeciles. But that's the situation we're in. I mean, Herschel Walker did very well. Warnock wouldn't even back Biden 2024. Think about that for a second. AOC wouldn't. Think about that for a second. This is the most popular man in American history. More people chose mashed potato brains than any other president. And now nobody wants him to run again in 24. Isn't that interesting? And it's like you look, they can't even back their own president. How on earth do they expect to win the Senate? They're definitely not going to win the House, but they're not even backing their own president. They don't want mashed potato brains Joe in office. They don't want him in office. They just don't want Trump, so they'll deal with anything. They'll deal with anything. So when Trump, exactly, Eileen, exactly. Herschel Walker did very, very well. And all you have to do if you're a Republican candidate in the Senate is look at the economy and look at foreign policy. That's it. You don't have to do much. The entire reason to be a Democrat is that you care so much about poor people. Oh my God, you care so much about them. Oh, you care about them. Then why did you cause the poverty? Thomas O'Connor! My man, Thomas O'Connor, thank you. Thank you so much, Thomas. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thomas O'Connor, thank you. Thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. The whole point, and I was a liberal Democrat my whole life. The whole point was, among the left, it went from being more of an anti-war, anti-military involvement. See, they are only anti-military involvement when it's a Republican. So the same people who opposed the Lincoln Project people, who are now within the Democratic Party and vote alongside Bernie Sanders, those same people, you'll see those people like, I opposed Bush. You did? Who are you voting for? Clinton. Did you just say that you opposed Bush? Yeah. And you're voting for Clinton and then Biden. Yeah, because Trump is an authoritarian. Who is the more militant of the three? Or who is the least hawkish? I don't care. He's an authoritarian. Who voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld? It was Clinton, and it was mashed potato brains. I don't care. They don't make any sense. There's no sense of irony, or they don't understand why they're hypocrites. You opposed Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld 20 years ago. So now you know the Lincoln Project is voting Democrat, the same people who got us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. Well, I care about the climate, and I care about social safety nets. But we had record low poverty under Trump. We had record low poverty. What is the rebuttal to that? I hear this nonsense. Oh, Trump abandoned the working class. Is the working class doing better now? No. Is the working class dealing with 8 to 9% inflation and real wages down 8.5%? Thomas O'Connor, thank you again. Thomas, greatly appreciated. To my super chat, thank you so much. I can't do this without you. You hear this? It's actually like this. Here's the reason why the Democratic Party is basically a gigantic cult. They say that about Trump supporters, but that's just an example of arrogance. Janet McGinnis, thanks for all your research, truth, and hard work. Thank you so very much, Janet. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Janet. Greatly appreciated. Thomas, thank you. Janet, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated for the kind words as well. Here's why liberal Democrats are part of basically a cult, okay? They can't define, if you cannot define how you're going to impact the climate or protect the planet from the emergency regarding climate. If everyone drove an EV, an electric vehicle, would that save the planet? They don't know. They can't tell you that. Will that lower the temperature of the planet? They can't tell you that categorically. But when they say like Trump is a menace to democracy, who knows what that means? Republicans don't take the climate seriously. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that they should also take 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves and pump it into the U.S.? We had record low unemployment, real wages up under Trump, and a record low in poverty. We had a growing economy, GDP growth up, and people had more spending, like cash to spend, and it was we had low unemployment. And then after 2 years of tanking the economy, unemployment went down to where it was before you tanked the economy. Congratulations. But the allure to being a liberal Democrat is you care so much about social safety net, social security, unemployment benefits. And that's fine. But why do you want people to use those unemployment benefits? That's the question. Wouldn't you rather have a president where most people aren't using unemployment benefits because they're employed? Michelle, hello. Wouldn't you rather have a presidency like Trump's where we didn't have 8 to 9% inflation? The inflation, had Biden not made it difficult for oil and gas companies to operate, because he just had a bucket list of things to do. He didn't have like an actual vision of where he wanted the country. He's like, whoa, we're going to go after oil and gas. We're going to decarbonize the planet. We're going to have carbon neutral. It'll be carbon neutral by 2030. Like they say these things just to say them. And then when they realize that, it's not working, it's actually causing inflation, it's actually causing poverty, then they backtrack, but it's too late. By 2030, so here you have like the United Nations and these multinational agreements, the secret spaceship. Thank you. Let's hope orange populism inundates the midterms. Thanks, H. I hope so. I think it will. The secret spaceship, one of the great names in this channel's history, the secret spaceship. Thank you so much. I think it will. Janet Thomas. I think it will. The secret spaceship. Unfortunately for the country, the secret spaceship, you might see a Lehman Brothers moment before November. And of course, like, if we have that, then then Biden will be like, hey, man, about the Republicans, man. Hey, it's going to get worse, man. Hey, where's Abe Lincoln? Abe, Honest Abe, you up there? Honest Abe? No, what happened to him? Oh. How was the play, Mrs. Lincoln, man? Come on. He's saying hi to deceased people. It's terrible. Hey, man. See, Democrats the way they view mashed potato brains Joe is like, well, this is our Trump. See? You had your Trump. He was an embarrassment. Now we have our embarrassment, but at least he's our embarrassment. It's like, no, actually, everyone who wanted Trump still wants him. Only your side doesn't want the current president. Only your side doesn't want the man that you desperately, allegedly wanted. Or apparently wanted. Fact sheet. April 22nd. So here, this is interesting, okay? So let's go ahead. This is the secret spaceship. This is why you'll have more Republicans take over the Senate and House. President Biden sets 2030 greenhouse gas pollution. Fact sheet. Biden 2030 greenhouse. Hey, everybody, come on now, man. Come on now. You can do it, man. So, this is why in April of 2021, April 22nd, 2021, this is when he didn't think inflation was a bad thing, was like, creeping up on the country. So hold on one second, really quickly. So 180 million barrels SPR Biden. So and everything, of course, is like, what a 180 million barrel. So almost a year to the day. This is why nothing Democrats say makes any sense at all, and why they're the biggest hypocrites on the planet. Fact sheet. President Mashed Potato sets 2030 greenhouse gas pollution reduction target aimed at creating good-paying union jobs and securing leadership on energy technologies. Go! Democrats saving the planet, so moral. Oh, what's this? Wah, wah, wah. What a, and then and then the reality sets in. What a 180 million barrel oil release may mean for the market. Biden team working on release to combat spike of gasoline price. Okay, but we still want to. It's a very important thing. It's a very important thing. Where climate is very, very important. It is an important issue, I believe, but 180 million barrels. The secret spaceship, 180 million barrels. Florida man bear, the only person who got the joke. The only person who enjoys this. Let's just do it again. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. This is how they read things. A fact sheet. President Biden sets, how dare you, sets 2030 greenhouse gas pollution reduction target. Yay! We don't have Trump anymore and his drill baby drill. It's Trump. He's going to ruin the planet. Trump is going to destroy our planet. Mother Nature. Oh, what's this? In other news, pointing to extreme hypocrisy, irony, and everything else that points to the abject failure of Democrats. What a 180 million Republican democracy. What a 180 million barrel oil release may mean for the market. It might mean something. But you better believe by 2030, we're going to decarbonize everything. And we're not even getting to the hypocrisy. They're begging OPEC. They're begging everybody. Please give us oil, please. Anatya. Thank you, Anatya. It's going well. Thank you so very much. Anatya, thank you. Thank you so very much. Anatya, the secret spaceship, thank you. Thomas, thank you. Janet, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. I mean, how are you going to get in 10 years, 8 years? You just released close to 200 million barrels and you're begging OPEC. How does that work? And OPEC's like, no. OPEC is now cutting. OPEC is cutting. And then you get some pundits are like, I think OPEC is trying to interfere in the midterms. Gee, how so? I thought there's all these green new jobs. What happened to the green jobs? Did they go the way of the little green men that some people think have invaded the planet? What happened to the green jobs? Oh, that's right. There are no green jobs. Or there aren't enough, not nearly enough to even make a dent in the GDP. Then you have mashed potato accuses of helping. Everything is within this absurd paradigm. If you don't do what we want, you're helping the Kremlin. No, not everything. No, that's not the way things work. People, this is why Trump's foreign policy and Trump's view of the world is so much better than Democrats. Trump focuses on what's good for the country, not what a consensus among advocates think, not what experts think, not what multinational organizations think. He focuses on what's good for the country, even perhaps if it benefits inadvertently adversaries. Sometimes actually having peace and prosperity might inadvertently benefit other countries. Oh my God, the tragedy, the travesty of having peace on earth. That might inadvertently help people. Well, you don't want to help the Kremlin. I mean, Vladimir's telling you to eat food and breathe air. Who wants that? Florida man bear. Algorithm approved comment. Nothing is wrong. The Secret Spaceship, thank you. Thomas O'Connor, thank you. Janet, thank you. Florida Man Bear. You have to say, I stand with also Florida Man Bear. That's also the approved sentiment.
Your sentiment has been approved by all the smart people and morally superior.
I see the Secret Spaceship, yes. Florida Man Bear, the algorithm approved comment, nothing is it's like that song, everything is awesome. Everything is cool. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Everything is awesome when you live in a dream. Florida Man Bear, thank you so very much. How are you going to get 2030? How are you going to get 2030 greenhouse gas pollution reduction target if you are begging OPEC, if you're still beholden to OPEC? And they're not stupid. They want more money. But that's just normal. Florida Man Bear thing. And then you have detractors saying, whoa, they did this in the 70s. That was completely different. That was an oil embargo. That was completely different. But then again, there's no nuance. You're talking about people who don't know much about history. Yet they pontificate. You're on the wrong side of history. You think that the authoritarians of the 1930s and 1940s would move the embassy to Jerusalem and sign an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses? In Germany during the 30s and 40s, the most virulent anti-Semitism was on the college campuses of that country, the universities of that country. Sophie Scholl, who is, God bless her soul, like a German student at what university was it? At a university, she lost her life battling the group thing. Her and her brother and another person lost their lives. And it was fellow students and faculty that turned her in. She was spreading, pamphlets and information, telling the student body how horrible the regime there was, and she lost her life. Very courageous, noble Sophie Scholl. Look her up. A university student. And in the early 1940s. And so, but anyway, like, these, you have to understand, like, very smart people will justify irrational behavior if it leads to acceptance and if it adheres to groupthink. So they don't really care about actually, like, they don't really care about what's good for the country. They don't care about what's right. They would rather, like, this is what they do also when, and this is, I have to become the algorithmist here, like Florida Man Bear. Thank you so very much. We'll be algorithmically friendly now. They've convinced themselves that their failed policies work. So when a criminal, when a madman, an absolute criminal, breaks 20 laws, including owning something illegally, and then commits an atrocity where like 10 or more people, 5 or more people, 3 or more people lose their lives, Democrats view that as a political victory. Say, you see, more laws would have prevented this. He already broke 20 laws. The criminals don't care about laws. Evil is only stopped by reciprocal force. That's why you have Democrats spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for security details. That's why you have Karen Bass, who had her home burglarized and they took firearms. So, and the thing is, like, you have to be, if you're a homeowner and and you have the Second Amendment to protect you, then you should have a plan to where you utilize the firearms if, God forbid, somebody tries to enter your home. But that's another story. No, maybe, I don't think she was there. That's also the thing. But they're all hypocrites. They're all hypocrites. I was actually told once that it was immoral to own a firearm by somebody, a morally superior liberal Democrat. I'm like, what? How? It's immoral not to own one in this day and age. I mean, you have to be like, live in like some kind of fairy tale world. You have to live in like this fantasy world. You abide by safety. Yeah, you have to be safe. You have to always be safe. Yes. Yes. But, like, when push comes to shove, the first thing the morally superior liberal do will call the police who have firearms. So it's like, there's no reasoning. It's like there's no reasoning here. But Florida Man Bear, thank you so much. Why are we begging OPEC? Oh, that's right, because electric car vehicles, or then you have like the grid. The electric grid is not going to be able to take to withstand millions upon millions of electric car vehicles. Then you have EVs, electric vehicles, just not being it's not very safe. Let's just say. I don't want to get into it, but oil prices. Let's look at oil prices. Oil prices are going to go up. They go up and down, but Brent is over $90. WTI is approaching $90, and they're not far away from getting to where they were a couple months back, over $100. And Biden can't release any more strategic petroleum reserves. So the interesting thing about oil prices is like it's still going to go up even in a recession. So Florida Man Bear, thank you. Let's do a poll. What do you think inflation is really at? Let's do a poll. Florida Man, Bear, Thomas, Janet, everybody here. What do you think real the inflation? What do you think inflation is really at? Is it really like around 8 to 10%? Or is it 10 to 30% or more? I think it's closer to 16%. Yeah. I think it's much closer to 16%. Because it's not 8%. There's no way it's 8%. There's just no way. Maria Camacho, hello. There's no way it's 8%. I think, yeah, like it's 13 to 16, possibly 20%. I mean, you factor in rent, food and rent. Exactly, the secret spaceship, exactly. Joel Valdez, my man. Hello, sir, Joel Valdez. I hope all is well. Joel, you think inflation is 8% or more like 16%? Because when you look at rent, Joel and Secret Spaceship and everybody here, Rent has gone up. If you live in an apartment, so rent, they say, has gone up 12.3%. And honestly, I think it's more than that, to tell you the truth. So they say 12.3% from a year ago. But depending on where you live, if you were spending $2,500 a month on rent, you're probably spending like $3,200 a month now. So, you know what? Maybe that's a little over, maybe 12%. maybe that is accurate. Rent and food. Rent and food is what's getting people. You know, things you need to live. Joel Valdez, thank you. I mean, in New York or LA. I mean, in New York or Los Angeles. In New York or Los Angeles, you're looking at in New York or Los Angeles, you're looking at rent as just skyrocketing. You're looking at rent. Florida Man Bear, 70%. John Williams, Shadow Stats. Yes. Shadow Stats is good. Yes. Shadow Stats is very good. Florida Man Bear, 17% makes sense. When you factor in food and rent, and then that causes poverty. Because people are not like, people who are working 2 jobs and they're making minimum wage, they're losing 8.5% of their paycheck. They're losing that money. Florida Man Bear, thank you. You're losing money. Oh, just to go ahead and not have Trump in office. Hold on 1 second, people. But Joel Valdez, no idea where inflation is at. Can't see that. It's interesting too because you have inflation at around 17%. You have inflation at around 17%. And it's like you have inflation at 17%, and the question is, well, how much are you willing to pay to keep Trump out of the Oval Office? How much are you willing to pay to keep Trump out of the Oval Office? That's the real question. I don't know. How much do you think Democrats are willing to pay? Here's a question. Joel, everybody here. And this is a serious question. Florida Man Bear, Joel, everybody here. Secret Spaceship. This is a serious question. How much are Dems willing to take out of their paycheck in real wage? So we have 8.5% right now. Let's say, are they willing to go 20%? Or are they willing to go over 20% of their paycheck? Because there's a lot of people who would go over 20% of their paycheck. Let's just say 20%, I think, is the median, like the average. They're already at 8.5%, and they're still talking about democracy and Trump. I think once it gets to around 20%, most Democrats will say, yeah, 20% drop in real wages. It's already 8.5%. Just bring back Trump. I think that the very wealthy liberal Democrats who are very morally superior, and I know this type of person, you can knock out, you can say 30% of their paycheck or their salary. They despise Trump so much, they're willing to lose 30% of their paycheck. I mean, you think about that. Think about that for a second. You're willing to spend that much money just to keep someone out of the Oval Office? Because that's what this all amounts to. That's what this all amounts to. This is all about they would rather have an economy in free fall than they'd rather have Trump than Trump getting the Oval Office back. That's the issue here. They would rather have 8.5% real wages down than Trump. Think about that for a second, ladies and gentlemen. And it's like, the way they work in terms of politics is anything bad under Trump is directly the fault of people who voted for him. You voted for this. You voted for this. And anything bad under Biden is like, well, at least Trump isn't in office. Voters book, hello. At least Trump isn't in office. You know, that's the way they think. Mark, hello. First name, hello. Lewis, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Been so wonderful. I will likely have an upload or a live stream later tonight. But be here tonight to my super chat. I cannot thank you enough. You've been so wonderful. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you, everybody. And it's been an actually wonderful, wonderful conversation. To my super chat again, your generosity is greatly appreciated. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding. Sarah, hello, like some people. But thank you so very much. I'm just running out of steam. I will see you all in about 2 hours, everybody. Thank you, everyone. Have a great, great evening. I'll see you in about 2 hours.